Hey guys, welcome to the July edition of AdCast. My name is Nicholas Lorden.
And I'm Syletse Porter. Welcome to the show, as Nick said. Thank you, Nick. Thanks for having me, Nick. You look nice, by the way.
Thanks, Celeste.
Everybody, he has on orange corduroy pants. I wish you could see them, but you have these tables. Check them out. It's hot. All right.
Wow, Celeste,
I put you out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you do.
Welcome to the show. I'm Syletse Porter, and tonight we're going to be speaking with Dan, Davie, and Gavin Davie from Elevation Brand. They're here to just share more information about their company and go into more details about it. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your branding company and how you all got started?
Company's 3 years old, August 1st. I don't necessarily like to classify us in traditional agency roles because our clients ask us to be more athletic to help them across a wide array of issues. So, we have to be able to bring results no matter what the challenge is. We like to throw out a term like we're kind of agnostic towards whatever the marketing vehicle is, because each client has a different challenge. They have a different voice. They have other things that make them unique. So their marketing plan, their programs have to be really tailored to whatever their particular challenge is.
Mm-hmm.
So we help in a pretty wide array of stuff: brand, creative services, PR, media. It just depends on what kind of the challenge is.
Wow.
I know, looking at the information on your website, you focused a lot on the importance of finding the business goal,
Mm-hmm.
What their whole objective is, and then from that you're able to execute. Go into a little bit more details of, going into these companies, and is it hard for them to define, what they're trying to do or their objective, and why is that so important?
Well, it depends on the company in a lot of cases, but I think what's happened is clients in Tampa, at least I found, haven't been used to having their agencies ask them hard questions, which is a shame.
Yeah.
And really, it's just you got to ask the right questions, because at the end of the day, the client's going to hold you accountable for, did you do what you said you were going to do? You can't get there unless you get really good detailed information. Some clients, and we've had this experience, some clients are really good about, here's what I'm trying to get done, here are the details, here's why it's important in my business. And some clients have never been asked that question before, and so it's a little bit of a struggle. You would think in their general planning that they'd have some of those answers, but it doesn't always appear to be the case.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really all about relevance a lot of time, depending on what the client's goal is, what's relevant to that goal.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, hey, I'd love to put up some billboards. Well, let's take a step back here.
Right.
Who are you trying to reach? Where are you going with this? Is that really the best scenario here?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, agencies will just, okay, that's great, we'll take your check. But really like to take more of a step back and really try and give our clients a little bit more than that, a little more thinking. So.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading on your website, you guys have a fairly active blog, and I guess there was two, the Hype for Hype's sake, and then it was about email marketing, and in both you sort of it seemed you kept on touching or ending with know your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering how your agency specifically approaches what's the best way to get to know someone's audience, and then maybe more importantly, how to choose a tone in which to communicate to them with.
Right. I think the easiest thing to do is probably often has the most overlooked is go out, sit down in front of your client, ask them, why did you buy? It's a really easy question, but it doesn't get asked enough. One of the things we do with a lot of our clients is we go to their customers and say, why did you buy? Who else was at the deal? Where did this company fall down? And a lot of times we're talking to angry customers or deals they've lost, because those people are just as important. So when you're asking me about know your customer, it's not just your perception of where you deliver value. It's got to be, what is the customer's perception of the value they paid for? And a lot of times there's a difference between what the company thinks and what the customer thinks. And I always tend to side with the guy who writes the check. So we always tend to side with what their customers think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most important point is, not assuming that you know what they're thinking, but actually physically getting that information from them.
Right.
Sometimes it takes a third party to ask, because they'll tell us things that they won't tell their sales rep, that they won't tell the president of the company.
Uh-huh.
From a tone perspective, you have to be a good listener to what the clients are asking for, and you have to be realistic about what is the right voice for your company. And a lot of times that goes back to who are you, what are you trying to be, and actually living those things instead of trying to follow what market leaders are doing, because they're doing something for them. You have a unique value, express it.
Are you finding that you're standing out above other agencies based on you going in there and asking these companies the hard questions?
It's interesting. This year in particular, we've been really surprised at how far we've been able to push clients outside of their comfort zone. And I think part of that really is because we can demonstrate how the solutions we bring to the table are relevant to the things they're trying to get accomplished on the business side, and we can tie it back to operations and sales and product management and things that they haven't really thought of before from marketing. Marketing never gets a seat at the big table. You know, they always are in the background. They're the stepchild. They're not
Exactly.
they're not at the head table, but that's where marketing belongs. And so, you know, we've pushed some clients in places that have made them very, very nervous, because they just have never had an agency before that can help them overcome their own fear of what good marketing is and how to express it. So we've had some really good success there doing that, which has been really, really fun.
That's awesome.
Gavin, I've noticed that you guys have a lot of recycling clients. It was interesting to me, like Anheuser-Busch, City of Baton Rouge, Recycle for Georgia, Georgia Sidewide Recycling Program. How did you guys become the recycling gurus? How did that evolve?
It's actually, I think it's more of something we just kind of fell into, and we just turned out to be incredibly good at it. So it's actually one of the campaigns we recently launched. It was the Georgia statewide recycling campaign.
Yeah.
And it was actually one of the ones Dan was referencing, you know, when he was saying we were able to push the client beyond kind of their safe and comfort zone. Really, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I did.
All,
I looked at some of those.
It was all about, you know, people wearing around I don't recycle t-shirts, and just kind of the whole misperception of, you know, what if people wore these outrageous misperceptions or their outrageous ideas on their shirt sleeves. And then, you know, the yougottabekidding.org, it was, you know, kind of the payoff. And then it's just these kind of non-recycling idiots.
Right.
So.
It was really about starting the conversation about recycling. So what we found is the more peers interact with each other about the subject, the more likely they are to participate. And it's a state government campaign, but nobody's going to give a lot of credibility to state government. But if we're at a party, if we're at a local barbecue, if we're at an event and talking to each other, I'm more likely to pay attention to what you're saying. And a lot of times it happens, like a lot of agencies, you win the first client, and then somebody sees that work and they say, oh, can you help me with this? And that's how the recycling business started. We started with a company called Curbside Value Partnership, which is a national organization, and that led us to be introduced to Anheuser-Busch Recycling and City of Baton Rouge and State of Georgia, and just kind of steamrolls from there. Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, recycling marketers, they're all government employees, and so they just know what they know, and they've forgotten that recycling is a consumer product, and you have to treat them like consumers, not like government employees. And so we've been fortunate in that they've really listened, but also that we've been able to back that up with really good results.
Right.
So how can we help you get more business? How can people get involved with your agency? How can they contact you?
I think the best way that we like to communicate with our clients is really through our blog. It's a great way to interact. We try to not give the same old marketing schlock that's out there, but really try to have a different kind of conversation. And that's really the best way. I think that's a good first point to reach out to us.
Okay. And that can be found on your website? Correct?
Elevationbrand.com.
Okay. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
All right, and we'd like to thank our sponsors, obviously, TBT, Tampa Digital Studios, Barefoot Wines and Bubbly, and Gasper's Grotto. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you in the next segment.